How's everybody doing? Today I'll be reviewing the horror movie Bloody Homecoming, written by Jake Helgren and directed by Brian C. Weed. And this is Brian C. Weed's feature-length directorial debut. And if you've seen Bloody Homecoming, definitely let me know what you think of it as well. Bloody Homecoming is an homage to 80s slashers, especially high school slashers. It has that same style and feel to it. And Bloody Homecoming starts out in the small town of Winston, and a group of friends are going to the homecoming dance, and something tragic happens, and one of the students ends up dying, and you fast forward 3 years later, and they're having their first homecoming since that tragic accident. And while everybody's getting prepared for homecoming, all the people that were involved in the tragic accident that happened 3 years prior get a note in their locker saying, "Happy Homecoming," written in blood, and they're trying to figure out, is this just a prank or is this an ominous omen that somebody's out to get them? And from there, it's a pretty straightforward slasher. People start disappearing and getting killed off, and people have to fight to survive. And the killer in Bloody Homecoming is dressed in a fireman's suit, so you can't see what they look like at all. And the main object that's used to kill most of the people in this one is a spirit stick. Now, I wasn't familiar with a spirit stick before, and I went to 4 different high schools, but a spirit stick is basically a decorative stick that you use during homecoming to wave around and show school spirit. And basically the spirit stick is given to the class that shows the most spirit. They basically decorate the halls of, the freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior halls. And whoever does the best and shows the best school spirit gets rewarded with the spirit stick. And the killer, who obviously is spurred by the homecoming that hasn't happened in 3 years, uses the spirit stick to kill people. Most of the kills are with that spirit stick, which is very fitting. Right in the beginning, they show the killer, sharpening the spirit stick. So it's, got a really pointed kind of spear end to it. And so you can see lots of impalements, lots of blood. And that's one thing I really appreciate about this as well, and lends itself to the authenticity of the throwback 80s slasher feel. They use practical effects here. There's no CG. You get that, that syrupy blood coming out, that splatter. No CG effects here. And I really like the casting of Jim Tavaré, who plays the janitor Fred. He looks a lot like Michael Berryman. He has that same kind of look to his face. It really works well and brings you that throwback feel to classic horror. And the poster artwork kind of reminds me of The Loved Ones and Prom Night. And it definitely has that Prom Night feel here. It feels like an homage to Prom Night. And if you like the original Prom Night with Leslie Nielsen and Jamie Lee Curtis, I think you'll really appreciate and enjoy Bloody Homecoming. It has a lot of similarities in the same style and feel, and there's a couple shots there that really remind me of Prom Night. And while I think everybody did a decent job in their roles, I think the acting standouts here are Jim Tavaré, again, who played Janitor Fred, especially with his look. It really worked well here. And Lexi Giovagnoli, who played the lead, Loren, as well as Elizabeth Bigger, who played kind of the emo girl, Nora. They all did really well, but those ones really stand out. There are some really cool kills here. Again, the practical effects with the blood really work. My favorite kill is probably the very first kill. There was one weak kill that really stands out. It is unique, but it definitely stands out as the weakest of the kills compared to the rest. And I will say the movie does lose a bit of its momentum towards the end of the movie. And I will say this is one of the few high school horror movies where I thought the actors were actually the age they're supposed to be. A lot of times you watch these horror movies and they're playing high school students, but they look like they're 30 or 40 years old. The actors in this one actually looked age appropriate for their roles, and that's very rare these days. And I thought the look to the killer was pretty cool with the fireman's suit, and I thought the spirit stick as the weapon of choice, I thought that was a pretty unique idea that I haven't seen before, and I love the ending to Bloody Homecoming. That really worked well. Now, the only reason I'm not going to give this a higher rating than it's going to get is because the acting from the supporting cast was a little shaky and it lost the momentum towards the end of the movie, and it doesn't do a whole lot to really set itself apart from other slashers of that genre. I would like a little bit more uniqueness going on there. It's basically pretty straightforward. I mean, there are a couple unique things there with the killing instrument of the spirit stick and the look of the killer, but besides that, it's very, formulaic. But again, it really works well. Obviously, you can tell the people that are involved with this film, especially the writer and director, are fans of the genre, and it really shows here in Bloody Homecoming. And I will say everything here is very fitting, especially the outfit for the killer. It works because of the tragic accident that occurred 3 years prior, and then the instrument that's used to kill people, the spirit stick, very fitting again for Homecoming, and obviously Homecoming is the whole trigger for the killer. Personally, I would really like to see a sequel here, Bloody Homecoming 2, Hello, Lauren Liu. I think that would really work well for the title, and I would love to see a sequel to this one. I think it definitely deserves it. It's a old school slasher throwback feel right there. A great job for low budget horror. And overall, I think Bloody Homecoming does a great job of giving you that 80s slasher feel, and it's a really enjoyable, low-budget horror film. Now, if you're more of a modern, mainstream horror fan, this one might not be for you. It is low budget. It is the 80s throwback feel going on here. But if you enjoy, low-budget horror and 80s slashers, I think Bloody Homecoming is right up your alley and definitely worth checking out. Overall, I give Bloody Homecoming a 7.5 out of 10 stars. It really follows that same formula for 80s slashers, and if you enjoy 80s slashers, I think you'll really enjoy Bloody Homecoming, and especially if you like movies like Prom Night, you'll definitely enjoy Bloody Homecoming. And if you've seen Bloody Homecoming, definitely let me know what you think of it as well. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.